Okay. 3.2 parallel lines and transversals. This is very, very similar to what we just did on 3.1. Okay, here's the difference. If these two lines are, now before we did, he had two lines and that's a transversal. That's a transversal. Didn't matter if that line and that line, doesn't matter if they're parallel or not parallel. You're still going to get all that corresponding angles, alternate interior, alternate exterior, and same side exterior. Okay? Now, we say, what happens if these two lines are parallel? Okay? Well, first of all, how do you show lines are parallel on a diagram? Okay, you do this. When they have the same number of arrows going the same direction, that means that line and that line are parallel because they have the same number of arrows going the same direction. Okay. Now, if these two lines are parallel, indicated right there, that means we know that the corresponding angles will be congruent. Angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent because they're corresponding angles. Okay. Angle 3 and 7 are congruent because they're corresponding angles. 2 and 6 are corresponding angles, therefore they're congruent. Angle 4 and 8 are congruent because they're corresponding angles. Same thing for alternate interior angles. 3 and 6, they're on alternating sides of the transversal. 3 and 6, they're alternate interior angles, they are congruent. Angle 4 and angle 5, they're on alternating sides of the transversal. Okay, and now they are on the inside of the parallel lines. Alternate interior angles, angles 4 and 5 will also be congruent. These angles are congruent, those pairs of angles are congruent. Same thing for alternate exterior angles. 1 and 8, they're on alternating sides of the transversal and they're on the exterior side of these parallel lines. They're on that side of that one and this side of this one. Okay. They're on this side of that line and they're on this side of that line. Okay. So angle 1 and angle 8, there are alternate exterior angles. Angle 1 and angle 8, as long as these lines are parallel, 1 and 8 are congruent, 2 and 7 are congruent. Then you have consecutive interior angles, and they're also called same side interior angles. These angles, 4 and 6, not going to be congruent, but these two angles will be supplementary. Angle 4 plus the measure of angle 6 will add up to 180. Same thing for angle 3 and angle 5. Angle 3 plus angle 5 will add up to 180. That's the stuff you need to know. That's what all this junk right here says. On page 132, all that stuff. Corresponding angles are congruent. As long as lines are parallel, corresponding angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, alternate exterior angles are congruent, and consecutive interior angles are supplementary. Supplementary. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. What does that mean? Let's put into practice. Put this into practice. So, here are two lines. We have line and we have line. The parallel. See this arrow and this arrow? It says they are parallel. If these are parallel, that means angles A and B are supplementary. These are same side interiors. Same side interiors angles. They're going to be supplementary. Angle A plus angle B equals 180. In this case, these two lines have the same number of arrows. Therefore, this line and this line are parallel. Angle W and angle X are corresponding angles. They are congruent. This measure is the same as this measure. Angles X and Y are supplementary. They add up to 180. Okay. In this case, we have this and these arrows, same number of arrows going in the same direction. Okay. Therefore, these two angles are vertical angles that are congruent. If this is 117 degrees, this is also 117 degrees. Then, since these are parallel, these two angles are corresponding angles. These are congruent, same measure. If that's 117, that's 117 because of vertical angles. These two angles, okay, because these lines are parallel, these corresponding angles are congruent, which makes these also 117 degrees. Okay, so we have number 7. In this case, it doesn't show the lines are parallel. What? How do you do that? Oh, boom, 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 boom. Now these two lines are parallel because it says right there, same number of arrows. I can do this if I wanted. I can go arrow there, arrow there, arrow there. Has 3 arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows. They have the same number of arrows going in the same direction, which means that line and that line are parallel. Okay. If these two lines are parallel, these are alternate interior angles. That means they're going to be congruent. They're going to be the same measurement. That means 2x is equal to 128. 2x equals 128. That may be hard to read in this light, so I'll write it in pen. The rest is algebra. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 64 degrees. So if you have to find the value of x, the answer is 64 degrees. If you have to find the value of that angle, the answer is 128 degrees. We get to the next one. Question 11. On the question 11, we have lines parallel. Same number of arrows, 1 arrow, 1 arrow. That means all 4 lines are parallel. How can that happen? Parallel lines, these lines intersect. So therefore, these cannot be parallel. Well, how do you do that? Well, 1 arrow, 1 arrow, 1 arrow, 1 arrow. All 4 lines cannot be parallel because they intersect right there. So you do this. Use a different color. There we go. 2 arrows, 2 arrows. These 2 lines are parallel. These have 1 arrow. I mean, these 2 lines are parallel to each other, but these 2, because they have 1 arrow, these have 2 arrows. These 2 lines are not parallel to those 2 lines. Okay, that's how you tell the difference between parallel lines here and these 2 are parallel to each other, but these 2 are not parallel to those 2. So here we have parallel lines. If this is 80, these 2 angles here, because they're parallel, these 2 angles are same side interior, they have to add up to 180, which makes this 100 degrees. These 2 lines are parallel and those 2 lines are parallel, so these also have to add up to 180 degrees, which makes this 80 degrees. 80 degrees. These 2 are going to be same side interior. These 2 are supplementary, which means 80 plus this also adds up to 180. 80 plus what is 180? 80 plus 100. There you go. 100 degrees, 80 degrees, 100 degrees, 80 degrees. There you go. Okay. We did number 3s on the book. We did number 7s in the book. We did something similar to 8, something similar to 9. Number 11, we did something number 11. Actually, we did it. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Good luck, guys. Ciao.